Hello guys, hope that you guys are having a awesome evening. um, Today I decided I wanted to do a quick, and I mean very quick, video about how to cook rice. I know a lot of people um, probably do rice the way I used to do it, which is basically just boiling it until you feel like it's ready, and then draining it, and then you're finished. But I recently learned how to do rice a much easier way. So what we're going to do is you first take your rice, and you definitely want to measure your rice. So if you normally do like a cup of rice or 2 cups of rice or whatever, make sure you measure how much rice you're using. Do not, and I repeat, do not rinse your rice with the way that we're cooking it now. You do not have to rinse your rice. I used to rinse my rice all the time because I felt like it helped to kind of get rid of some of the starch on there, I guess you could say. But I recently learned that you don't have to do that. So you take your rice dry, measure it, and you get your a pan or a pot, whichever one you prefer. Probably whatever that'll hold liquid, because you're going to have to put quite a bit of liquid in there. So I actually did 2.5 cups of rice, and I put a little bit of olive oil down in the bottom of the pan. Put your rice in there, and then you just continue to stir the rice, and do not walk away from it. Just continue to stir it. And what you want to do is look for kind of like, and it's going to start to kind of smell like popcorn, but that's what you want it to do. So your rice is going to kind of start to cook, and it's going to kind of turn like a brown color. It's almost like you're kind of roasting the rice almost in the oil. But you do that, and once you start to see the rice look a little brown, and actually I wouldn't say roasted, but toasted is the word I was looking for. But as soon as you see it start to toast up and look a little brown here and there, then that's when you know that you're ready to add your liquid. Now, if you did just say a cup of rice, you're definitely going to want to do 2 cups of liquid. So it's 1 part rice, 2 parts liquid. And the best thing to do as far as your liquid is to do some type of broth, chicken broth. I've even done like a beef broth, but it really don't matter. But whichever one you prefer. So you take your broth. It's better to do broth because the broth is what's going to give the rice the most flavor. If you want to do water, you can. The only thing I would suggest if you do plain water is to put you something in there to season it, whether it be your bouillon cubes or some type of seasoning, better than bouillon, one or the other. But put you some seasoning in there, or even better, just use you some chicken broth. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I did 2.5 cups of rice, so I'm going to do 5 cups of liquid. So I will be back just a moment. We're going to add the liquid to the pan, and I'll be right back to show you guys again what our next step is. Okay, so we've added our water to the rice, and I decided to go with water, guys, because I remembered that I had some Weiler's chicken powder, and it's actually same as the bouillon cubes. So I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of this to it, and actually I think that's about a teaspoon. You just have to, y'all know me, keep going till the spirit say stop. But anyway, so yeah, because it's starting to look like chicken broth, so we're good. But anyway, so we did the I did the chicken powder, same as the bouillon cube. So once you get your water in there, and when you put your water in there, it is going to kind of, you know, sizzle up some, but just continue to stir it. And what you want to do now that you've gotten your broth in there, or your water and powder, is just let it come to a real good boil. And as soon as it comes to a boil, then you want to turn it down and let it simmer. And simmer for, I would say, probably about 15 minutes with it covered. So get it to come to a real good boil, and then turn it down, let it simmer, and cover it. After you cover it, do not, and I repeat, do not go back and stir it. Just let it sit, and eventually, in about 15 minutes, you come back. The rice, all you're gonna have to do is kind of fluff it up. It's gonna be good to go. All the liquid would have cooked out of it, and the rice would have absorbed all of that good broth and seasoning. So, and you won't even have to flavor your rice. Your rice is already going to be flavored. That is awesome, awesome, awesome. So, anyway, let's. I'm gonna go ahead and get it to a good boil, which is almost there, and then I'm going to cover it and let it simmer. And when it that's finished, I'll be back so you guys can see how it looks once it's finished. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, guys, so we got it to come to a really good boil, and I've already turned it down and started it to simmer, and you'll see kind of what it's looking like. I wanted to let you guys know what it's going to be looking like once you start to simmer. Make sure you're using a very good non-stick pot with this too as well. I find that it works better with a real good non-stick pot. So, but this is kind of like a saucepan for me, but anyway. So we're going to cover it up. After it's simmered for just a second, what we're going to do is we're going to take it off of here, take it over to the side, because if you leave it on the aisle, it's going to continue to cook. So we're going to take it off of the aisle, sit it over to the side, and just leave it alone. You don't even have to worry about it. Just let it go for probably about 15 minutes or so, and then come back and it should be ready. So just take it off of the aisle because you don't want it to continue to cook. You just want to let it do its thing. So we're going to sit it over to the side, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so let our rice sit for 15 minutes covered, and let's see. All right, after it's finished, all you have to do is literally just fluff it. And you see how the rice is just as fluffy as it could be, and it is done. Now what I normally do is, at this point in time, before I serve it, because my family loves buttered rice, I'll take about, I would say about a teaspoon or two, and I go ahead and I add my butter in there. That only gives it even more flavor, makes it buttery. And then I just stir the butter in until it melts. And at that point, you're ready to serve it up. Isn't that amazing, guys? I know when I was boiling the rice to death, I thought I was doing it right. But the good thing is we're always learning. So as long as we never think we know everything, then we can always learn, right? So I found out that I didn't know exactly how to do rice the best way. So, I mean, nothing wrong with, if that's the way you want to do it, boil your rice, hey, that's fine. But I just learned that this is so much simpler and easier. So, all right. So, guys. All right, guys. So, I let the rice sit for about 15 minutes. And it's nothing wrong if you want to let it sit for longer while you do something else. That's fine. The only thing you have to do once it's finished is just kind of fluff it up. I always go ahead and add a little butter to mine, so you'll see like a little bit of butter in there melting. That's because my family loves the rice to be buttery, and so I always just take a little, about a couple of teaspoons of butter and put it in there, just kind of fluff it around. But with the way that I do it now, the rice is not sticky, and I notice that when I boil my rice, when I strain it, it's always just kind of sticky. So but this is so much more simple to do it this way. And I hope that you guys will try it, because I promise you, ever since I did it the first time, I've been doing it ever since. And I love it. So the rice is finished, and we're going to go ahead and start our dinner. But, you know, I hope that you guys will really try this, because I love it. So, but as always, guys, I always say it don't take long at all. So cook up a little something and eat at home. Love you guys.